Andrew here with your small group questions for this week as we look at Gospel Encounters, week 2, which will be in Mark chapter 3, verses 31 through 35. This text brings to a culmination a wider context that begins back in verse 13 with the calling of the 12 disciples. And ultimately, we're going to see Christ through this text, leading to this final point that we'll spend our time in the sermon on, unpacking what does it mean to be a part of the family of God. And so even from the beginning, we're going to ask that question, how is the gospel displayed in our text? What is the gospel encounters that we see in this text? So what stands out to you about the gospel at work here? And then as you think about those things, what do we see? Why is 31 through 35 a culmination of everything in between? How does this fit in that larger context? Specifically addressing his own physical family. So at the end of that introduction, his physical family is coming. They think he has lost his mind, and so they're coming to bring him back or to stop him. And as you think about that, what is it that they are ultimately trying to do? Are their motives good? Are they evil? What is the background behind what they're doing? How are they leading him or trying to take him out of the ministry that he is doing? Which ultimately leads to the question of who is God's family? Who is the family of Christ? What are the things that mark those inside God's family versus those outside? What are the things you see in this text? And ultimately, for our own sakes, what is the importance of a spiritual family? What is the importance of seeing this family as different than the physical family? What is it that the spiritual family has that the physical doesn't? And so as you think about these things in your own life, what is the difference between your church family and your physical family? Now there may be some overlap, but for some of you there may be a complete separation. What are the things that bring those things together? What are those that push them apart? And so as you think about these things, we want to also think about the gospel at work here. And so what is it that brings one into this family? What is it that connects us to Christ in this text? And of course, as we see throughout the scriptures. So as you work your way through it, some other things you can look at, looking at the disciples back at the beginning, at the beginning of the chapter here, what are some of the things that stand about them? Again, as you see them then become this family, what are some of the things that highlight the differences amongst them? That really begins to highlight how different the spiritual family is than a physical family and what brings them all together. So as you work through this text, I just hope that you'll be encouraged by the gospel's work in our own lives, and again, in the nature of the church itself. So again, can't wait to worship with you guys on Sunday as we unpack the word together, and then in our small groups as we discuss them, pray together, and live out the faith well as Christ's family. Can't wait to see you guys on Sunday.